Welcome, everyone, to the Preschool Mindfulness Summit. I'm really excited to introduce you today to Elizabeth Ann Mulhane. She comes to us from Mindfulness for Children from Australia. Today she's going to talk to us about using mindfulness-based programs as scaffolding for teachers and children. And Elizabeth's someone who's been working for many years and practicing herself for many years in the field of mindfulness and yoga and Tai Chi. And then she's created her own kind of mindful movements program for kids called Flow Form, which she will tell us about, I think, during the session. So welcome, and thank you so much for joining us, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Helen, and thank you very much for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Great. So let's start with your 10-week mindfulness creative play program. How does that kind of align with Australia's early learning framework and what's happening in the early years in Australian schools?
Okay, yeah, sure. So the early learning years framework is a document for childcare teachers to just go off. It's got principles and outcomes just as a guideline to help them, what to teach the children. And so the program that I've designed just lines up with the outcomes. The 5 outcomes, number 1, self-identity. Number 2, connecting and contributing to our world. 3, a strong sense of well-being. 4, confident and involved learners. And 5, effective communicators. So I've used those outcomes, and within the document they break down, like within the early learning years framework document, those 5 outcomes break down to, so the teachers have boxes to tick so they know whether or not they're developing those pathways for the children. So the 10-week mindfulness-based creative play program that I've designed just lines itself up with those outcomes through just the various what's involved with the program. I suppose it's probably really easy to say, so the program is overlaid with like another 10-week program where that also goes home to the parents. Okay. And within that program, in the centre, the children are having discussions with the teachers and with each other. And at home, the parents are having little discussions with their children on slightly different aspects of going through 10 focus points for flourishing. And so that's positive emotion, engagement, interest, meaning, purpose, autonomy, competence, relatedness, positive relationships, accomplishment. And so but the children learn that in little easy 3 to 6-year-old terms. So accomplishment is just, autonomy is I did it, whereas accomplishment they learn, I did this well. And so that is relating itself to those early learning years outcomes. And of course, I've hashtagged at the end of each week, I've hashtagged, what parts of the outcome are there. So obviously, say, for example, a strong sense of well-being, which is like number 3, the children are going to get that from the meditations and the mindfulness that's in there, and then also going through those 10 focus points. So it's a pretty in-depth program, but I just wanted to, I had actually a teacher contact me, a couple of teachers, and say, they have done mindfulness and they still don't really know how to implement it. So I've just created a program just to help teachers to implement mindfulness, to integrate it into the learning programs that they're offering the children.
I love so much of what you said, and especially, that you have the parent component as well, because I think that's so important, is, that we're all working things don't happen at preschool, and it's not happening at home, but that there's kind of that cohesiveness in what we're doing with the kids and the language that we use. So it sounds really, really wonderful. Now, I know inside of your program you have this big component about bees. So, which might sound strange to some people watching different countries, but so tell us about why did you put in all this bee information and bee?
Well, I wanted to not just make it like, of course, it was to learn mindfulness and meditation, but I wanted mindfulness and meditation to really integrate into the program, and for what they're learning to really integrate into the world that they live in, so they are feeling connected, and they're getting that connection through knowledge, through concepts of knowledge, and I think, as we all know now, we need to look after the bees. And so I want the children to, here in Australia, we have tiny, tinsy little bees that are stingless and produce honey. So, the children watch a little video, a little YouTube flick, and so they get to see all the different ways. So that they'll either see that, we need bees for flowers, we need bees for vegetables, we need bees for fruit, for honey, for so much in our environment. And so I want all my programs to have, as much as possible, that environmental engagement for the children, where they're also learning, sustainable practice. Some of my other programs that I've got in development are carbon footprint. So that's why I did bees. Next, I'm doing butterflies. I love hearing a 2.5-year-old say metamorphosis.
Yeah, I love that, Elizabeth, and I that's my approach as well, as like integrating everything and teaching different concepts all together, because I think that in the early years it's a great way for children to be interested in and to learn. So tell us about some of the other things around mindfulness that children will learn in your program.
Sure. Okay. So even when they within the program, each week the children will watch a little bit of technology. They'll do a mindfulness or meditation exercise. They'll have a group discussion. They'll have a craft that they do. There's a game each week. And then there's another discussion. First discussion is about bees. Next discussion is about those focus points on, positive emotion, for example. So because it's a program, I just felt that will allow the teachers to really engage and remember. So they're remembering, they're intentionally teaching mindfulness. When the children are about to watch even a little bit of technology, they're saying, okay, we're going to put on our mindfulness caps and really focus on this program. And they're only 2 to 3 minutes. And so, throughout the program, the teachers have that intention in their mind, in their heart. And so I feel that's the best way to really give it to the children, through the teachers really engaged in that whole concept. And then, of course, that through the sessions that they'll be teaching the kids, the children learn spidey senses, mindful eating, tasting honey, and gratitude meditations, being grateful for food and friends, even the diversity within friendships and within friends' faces, and then of course there's loving kindness meditations, which I think gratitude and loving kindness meditations are such an important part of actually practicing your mindfulness, cultivating wholesome thoughts, cultivating, that positive emotion with intention. So, yeah.
Sounds lovely. So when you talk about meditating with the really young kids who are, the youngest kids are 3 that you work with, is that right?
Well, I have seen my 1-year-old granddaughter connect with her breathing when I put her to bed. Sometimes they're living with me. I've got my 2.5-year-old and my 1-year-old daughter, and they've become my muses. And I can honestly say my 12-month-old, when I give my daughter a break and I'll take a turn putting one of them to bed, and I'll lay her on my chest and I'll just breathe deeply, and then I know she's like feeling my breath and she's engaged in my breath, and then she thinks about her own breath, and I know that because all of a sudden she'll take a big breath, and then she'll settle into her own quick little breathing pattern. So yeah, you can definitely start teaching children mindfulness from not so that they're actually aware of what they're doing, you know what I mean, but they can get in contact with in touch with their breathing.
Yeah, I love how you explained that. I think that's a great example of, with the breathing, and but sometimes we think it all has to be like set up and, an organized thing. But I mean, that's just a perfect example of how we can help kids learn those skills without ever opening our mouths, right? Just sharing the practice by doing the practice. I really love that. And sorry, you don't look old enough to be a grandmother. Yeah,
I'm 50 this year. So yeah, I'm getting old.
No, well, you don't look it. So talk a little bit about movement and maybe how we can use movement to help young children develop mindfulness practices.
Okay, sure. So of course, you don't always need to put movement there, but if you can, because the program I'm focusing on at the moment with the 3 to 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
I have done, I was a Cub Scout teacher, Cub Scout volunteer for 4 years for 7 to 12-year-olds, and I found even at that age, they really do find it hard to just pay attention and focus, a lot of the time. And once you involve movement, you put more attention onto what they're doing. They have to focus on what they're doing, and of course, depending on the type of movement, obviously you want movements that will bring the mind down into the body and then having them concentrate and focus. And it's just a great way to help young children just stay in that intention of focusing on their breath and then using that movement to align that mind-body experience.
Right. Yeah. And Elizabeth, what would you what do you find with the teachers that are implementing mindfulness in Australia, just kind of learning it together while they're sharing with the students? What's the kind of way that things are happening where you are in Sydney?
Sure. Well, it's slow taking off here. It's more in the primary schools here at the moment, and we have apps here. We have a lot of apps. I think that's what encouraged me within myself to try and make this program. I want to turn it into a primary school program after this, even though I really enjoy 3 to 6-year-olds. That's my space. But in the primary schools, that's where it's mainly moving at the moment. But the children are just sitting in front of apps.
Yeah.
Because the teachers can get a little bit lost. I mean, it takes a long time just to educate yourself to be a primary school teacher, and then all of a sudden they're bombarded with, well, now you need to teach them mindfulness too. And so, they're sitting them in front of apps, and unfortunately, I've heard from a lot of children that they hate it. And so, it's just a sort of a bludge time, and it's a bit lost here in Australia at the moment as far as really teaching the teachers to teach when it comes to mindfulness and meditation. So in the 3 to 6 year olds, it's not really got a high priority here, so we're really just starting to push it forward and introduce it.
Yeah, like in much of the world, I think so. It's just interesting to hear, what's happening in different places around the world. So tell us a little bit, you have this Mindful Smiles Day. Is that part of your curriculum, or is that something else?
No, Mindful Smiles Day is just this day I created. And it's about teaching children to brush their teeth mindfully. So it's more for the parents. Yeah. And I think I wanted to, here we do have, you can go and pay $15 for an hour and put your child in a mindfulness program somewhere. And it's usually connected with yoga. Some people are offering art. But again, there's not a lot going on here. And I wanted parents to realise that, maybe your child needs, for example, maths tuition. So you go and do your 1 hour maths tuition, but you practice maths every single day. And so that's what mindful brushing is about. It's about getting the children to stand there in the bathroom still and focus, no hanging off the rails, no talking with the brush in the mouth, and just connecting that toothbrush and polishing those teeth and gums, and just really focusing, because it's actually it's not easy to brush your teeth mindfully and really stay there when even as adults, so it's a way for parents to connect and do their little bit every day. And because it's every day or twice a day, it's such a powerful way to really teach children to be mindful, and particularly in a place where it's so easy to be on automatic pilot when you're brushing your teeth. But it's such an important time to be mindful, because, poor brushing leads to poor oral health and no teeth later in life or decays. So, I just wanted to create a day as an awareness and a reminder to parents to get onto that mindful brushing twice a day.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea. And also just to, bring more awareness. So can you tell us what are your suggestions for parents or teachers that are watching? What can they do personally to kind of help kids learn more about mindfulness or meditation or positive psychology and those type of things?
Sure. So I would say practice. Practice yourself as a teacher, and, practice mindful brushing. Practice being mindful when you're in the shower. Try and just stay there, don't have a million conversations everywhere. Just shower. And practice gratitude meditation and loving kindness meditation, because, if children learn from what they see, I think children are really pick up on your energy, on your state, and when we deliberately practice gratitude meditations and loving kindness meditations, our energy and our state improves. I mean, because, let's face it, there's really a lot of rotten people in the world, isn't there? And you do, when you sit there and you give yourself a gratitude meditation every morning, you really do. It really does work. You really start feeling grateful for everything. And when you do a loving kindness meditation, that's what, if teachers do that themselves every day, they'll realize just how powerful mind training can be. Like for me, I'll put that special person that I love the most in my heart first, and I'll sit there and I'll intentionally get in touch with those feelings. And then I'll add the outer circle of people that I still really love, and I'll extend those feelings to, the outer circle and then to the world. And so, if they can learn to do that, then of course, once you've learned it and you've seen the benefits, you're more willing and wanting to teach those benefits to children.
Yeah, definitely. Agree. All starts with us and what we project out and share with our students. So just before we end, Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about, so if you click the Learning Resource tab below, Elizabeth's given you a really nice gift, which I'll let her tell you about, and also her bio button. You can contact her and find out more about what she's doing in Australia with mindfulness, but she is going to give you a gift of a mindfulness program, I think. So I'll let her tell you a little bit about that.
Yep, the 10-week mindfulness-based program is for all the viewers for free. And it comes with, so it's a three download package. So you get the 10-week program, you get the 10-week flourishing wellbeing program for families, and it also comes with a separate craft download. So all the crafts are photographed and all that to make it easy. So all the viewers get to just have the program for free.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure there's lots of great ideas people can use in there. So that's really, really generous of you. So thank you again, Elizabeth, for coming on and sharing this. Sounds like really innovative program and, really developmentally appropriate for young kids, and for sharing that program with us all. I'm sure we would all like to have a look and see what's in there and how we can use it with the kids that we work at. So thank you so much, and keep doing all the great stuff that you're doing.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. And just one more thing, that I do have a Facebook group, Mindfulness for Children. So if any teachers and parents want to join that, there's lots of freebies there. And I have a YouTube channel, Mindfulness for Children.
Cool.
And if they want to get the program, they can either go to the website, mindfulnessforchildren.com.au, or they can email me on mindfulsmiles@gmail.com. So,
perfect. All right. Great.
Thank you so much again for having me, and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.